Let's go back in time. We're on the Canadian prairie, late autumn, and we're zooming in on a single evening, a moment that pushed a deeply traditional community to a breaking point and set them on a path that would change their history forever.
Wow, that one sentence just sets the whole scene, doesn't it? You can feel the finality in it, a real sense of an ending. It's like you can feel the chill in the air and the weight of what's about to happen. This is a story about a world right on the brink of a massive transformation.
Okay, so to really understand what was at stake, we first have to see the world they were about to lose. We're in a Rhinelander Mennonite village in Manitoba. Now, these were a particularly conservative group, and they built their entire community on faith, tradition, and a really strict separation from the outside world.
Just try to picture it for a second. The whole day is shaped by the land and by faith. You've got the sun setting over these huge golden fields. The air is thick with the smell of harvested hay. You'd hear the quiet, rhythmic sound of Plouch, their own unique Low German dialect. And maybe in the distance, you'd hear children singing a hymn, Wie groß bist du, how great thou art. It was a complete, self-contained universe.
So if you were just a stranger passing by, you'd look around and see nothing but perfect order and peace. Neat little houses, tidy gardens, red barns set against this enormous sky. It looked like the very definition of tranquility. But, as we're about to find out, that peace was incredibly fragile.
And that fragile peace gets shattered, not by a loud bang, but by a quiet whisper. Or, in this case, by a folded-up piece of paper brought home as the sun went down.
You know, even before the newspaper arrived, you get the sense that something was off. There was this feeling of unease, like a storm building up just over the horizon. The community could feel that the outside world, the one they tried so hard to keep at a distance, was getting closer and closer.
And this one simple object, a newspaper, it comes to represent the entire conflict. The paper in Jakob Friesen's hand isn't just newsprint, it's a harbinger. It's a sign of what's coming. It's a symbol of the modern, secular world literally walking into their home, carrying demands they just can't meet.
And there it is, the bombshell, delivered in just a few quiet words. And you have to understand, this is so much bigger than just what language they're speaking. For this community, controlling their own schools and their own language, based on their own faith, that was fundamental to their survival as a people.
Let's break down what this new law really meant, because it strikes right at the heart of who they are. No more German teachers? Well, that cuts them off from their heritage. Every child must salute the Canadian flag. That goes against their principle of allegiance to God alone. And maybe the most painful part of all, it felt like a broken promise. The whole reason they came to Canada was for the freedom to live this way.
So this just sets up the ultimate dilemma, a real test of identity. I mean, what do you do when the very country that gave you a safe place to live now demands you give up who you are in return?
Jacob's words just capture that internal conflict so perfectly. You don't hear anger in his voice. It's more like a deep, heavy sadness. He recognizes all the good things Canada gave them, land, peace, freedom from persecution. But he also sees this new, impossible demand. And right away, his wife Anna gives the community's simple, unshakable answer. It's not them being arrogant, it's just a statement of fact. Their distinctiveness, their separation from the world, is the very core of their faith. To become like everyone else, well, that would mean they'd cease to exist.
So, you've got this collision course. On one side, there's the promise that brought them to Canada in the first place, land, freedom, religious peace. And on the other side, there's this new demand, assimilation, conformity, a kind of national uniformity that has no room for their way of life. They're at a complete impasse.
So where do you turn when you're faced with an impossible choice like that? For them, the answer was always in the same place. They turned inward, to the very foundation of their community, their faith.
The imagery here is so powerful. That night, the wind starts to rise. And it's more than just weather, right? That wind is a metaphor. It's the outside world, it's the government, it's all these unstoppable forces pressing in on them, rattling the windows of their small, safe world.
And in the face of that storm, Jakob doesn't write a letter to a politician or start a debate, he opens the Bible. This passage from the Psalms, this is their anchor. It's a declaration that even if the whole world around them is shaken, their foundation is secure, and they will not be ruled by fear. And we see this whole moment through the eyes of their oldest son, Peter. Now, he might not get all the political details, but he understands the feeling in the room. He senses that deep, heavy quiet that falls when everyone realizes they're on the edge of losing something truly precious. It makes this huge, abstract threat feel incredibly personal.
But that quiet evening of prayer isn't the end of the story. Not at all. In fact, it's the beginning of the next, much, much bigger chapter.
That same wind that was rattling the windows now carries a different sound. It's described as a low hum, almost like the sound of the future coming down distant railroad tracks. Because their answer to the government's demand wasn't going to be assimilation. It was going to be something way more radical. A journey.
And that's where we leave them, on the cusp of this massive decision. The family doesn't even fully know it yet, but this one night has set them on a path that could take them all the way across a continent, searching for a new place to call home. And it leaves us with this one hanging question about sacrifice and survival. Just how far would you go to remain who you are?